Selfhood is a cosmic reality, whether material, morontial, or spiritual. The actuality of the personal is the bestowal of the universal Father acting in and of himself, or through his manifold universe agencies. To say that a being is personal is to recognize the relative individuation of such a being within the cosmic organism. The living cosmos is an all but infinitely integrated aggregation of real units, all of which are relatively subject to the destiny of the whole. But those that are personal have been endowed with the actual choice of destiny acceptance or of destiny rejection. That which comes from the Father is like the Father eternal, and this is just as true of personality, which God gives by his own free will choice, as it is of the divine thought adjuster, an actual fragment of God. Man's personality is eternal, but with regard to identity a conditioned eternal reality. Having appeared in response to the Father's will, personality will attain deity destiny, but man must choose whether or not he will be present at the attainment of such destiny. In default of such choice, personality attains experiential deity directly, becoming a part of the Supreme Being. The cycle is foreordained, but man's participation therein is optional, personal, and experiential. Mortal identity is a transient time, life condition in the universe. It is real only insofar as the personality elects to become a continuing universe phenomenon. This is the essential difference between man and an energy system. The energy system must continue, it has no choice, but man has everything to do with determining his own destiny. The adjuster is truly the path to paradise, but man and himself must pursue that path by his own deciding, his free will choosing. Human beings possess identity only in the material sense. Such qualities of the self are expressed by the material mind as it functions in the energy system of the intellect. When it is said that man has identity, it is recognized that he is in possession of a mind circuit which has been placed in subordination to the acts and choosing of the will of the human personality. But this is of material and purely temporary manifestation, just as the human embryo is a transient parasitic stage of human life. Human beings, from a cosmic perspective, are born, live, and die in a relative instant of time. They are not enduring. But mortal personality, through its own choosing, possesses the power of transferring its seat of identity from the passing material, intellect system to the higher morontia, soul system which, in association with the thought adjuster, is created as a new vehicle for personality manifestation. And it is this very power of choice, the universe insignia of free will creaturehood, that constitutes man's greatest opportunity and his supreme cosmic responsibility. Upon the integrity of the human volition depends the eternal destiny of the future phenoliter. Upon the sincerity of the mortal free will the divine adjuster depends for eternal personality. Upon the faithfulness of mortal choice the universal Father depends for the realization of a new ascending Son. Upon the steadfastness and wisdom of decision, actions the Supreme Being depends for the actuality of experiential evolution. Though the cosmic circles of personality growth must eventually be attained, if through no fault of your own, the accidents of time and the handicaps of material existence prevent your mastering these levels on our native planet, if your intentions and desires are of survival value, there are issued the decrees of probation extension. You will be afforded additional time in which to prove yourself. If ever there is doubt as to the advisability of advancing a human identity to the mansion worlds, the universe governments invariably rule in the personal interests of that individual. They unhesitatingly advance such a soul to the status of a transitional being, while they continue their observations of the emerging morontia intent and spiritual purpose. Thus divine justice is certain of achievement, and divine mercy is accorded further opportunity for extending its ministry. The governments of Orvington and Nebiton do not claim absolute perfection for the detail working of the universal plan of mortal repersonalization, but they do claim to, and actually do, manifest patience, tolerance, understanding, and merciful sympathy. They had rather assume the risk of a system rebellion than to court the hazard of depriving one struggling mortal from any evolutionary world of the eternal joy of pursuing the ascending career. This does not mean that human beings are to enjoy a second opportunity in the face of the rejection of a first, not at all. but it does signify that all will creatures are to experience one true opportunity to make one undoubted, self-conscious, and final choice. The sovereign judges of the universes will not deprive any being of personality status who has not finally and fully made the eternal choice. The soul of man must and will be given full and ample opportunity to reveal its true intent and real purpose. When the more spiritually and cosmically advanced mortals die, they proceed immediately to the mansion worlds. In general, this provision operates with those who have had assigned to them personal seraphic guardians. Other mortals may be detained until such time as the adjudication of their affairs has been completed, after which they may proceed to the mansion worlds, or they may be assigned to the ranks of the sleeping survivors who will be repersonalized en masse at the end of the current planetary dispensation. There are two difficulties that hamper the revelator's efforts to explain just what happens to us in death: the surviving you, which is distinct from the departing adjuster. One of these consists in the impossibility of conveying to our level of comprehension an adequate description of a transaction on the borderland of the physical and morontial realms. The other is brought about by the restrictions placed upon the revelator's commission as a revelator of truth by the celestial governing authorities of Urantia. But within the limits of that permission can be said this much: there is something real, something of human evolution, something additional to the mystery monitor, which survives death. This newly appearing entity is the soul, and it survives the death of both our physical body and our material mind. This entity is the conjoined child of the combined life and efforts of the human you in liaison with the divine you, the adjuster. This child of human and divine parentage constitutes the surviving element of terrestrial origin. It is the morontial self, the immortal soul. This child of persisting meaning and surviving value is wholly unconscious during the period from death to repersonalization, and is in the keeping of the seraphic destiny guardian throughout the season of waiting. You will not function as a conscious being following death until you attain the new consciousness of morontia on the mansion worlds of Satania. At death, the functional identity associated with the human personality is disrupted through the cessation of vital motion. Human personality, while transcending its constituent parts, is dependent on them for functional identity. The stoppage of life destroys the physical brain patterns for mind endowment, and the disruption of mind terminates mortal consciousness. The consciousness of that creature cannot subsequently reappear until a cosmic situation has been arranged which will permit the same human personality again to function in relationship with living energy. During the transit of surviving mortals from the world of origin to the mansion worlds, whether they experience personality reassembly on the third period or ascend at the time of